Look his face.
Yeah.
He's dangerous.
He's special.
You can like.
The guy is special. Everything that could possibly be special about this guy is special. A guy like this is the type of guy that you love to watch and follow. The most special guy that I've ever come across.
Let's talk about the fights this weekend. Rob Font versus Marlon Chito Vera. You know, to me, it's very exciting. It's a very interesting fight. So, who are you picking and why? Who do you think has the stylistic advantage in this fight?
Stylistically, probably Rob. You know, I just see like we've seen it play out now with Rob and some other opponents. Like his boxing is a difference maker. You know, it's just so technical. It's fast. You know, he was just like favored to beat Jose Aldo not that long ago, and he didn't win that fight. But that just kind of shows you what people think of Rob Font. You know, he is on that level, and I don't know though. I would hesitate to bet against Chito Vera right now. You know, he just is that guy who's like, he's 29. He just seems like so confident and comfortable with who he is and what his skill set is, and it seems like he's improving all the time. And he's got, you know, I mean, I thought he was losing that fight to Frankie Edgar, and then he finished it with one shot. You know, he has the ability to finish guys like real quickly, and yeah, he just has that kind of swagger about him right now, that it's just he believes in himself. You know, he's in a good place, it seems like. Vera is. So I think Rob Font is the favorite for a reason, you know, but that's a tough fight to call.
To me, I think the thing that Chito has to do early is he has to make it scrappy and dirty, because as soon as Rob establishes a range with his jab and with his boxing, then it's his fight to lose. You know, but Chito, if he makes it dirty, mixes in elbows like he did in the third round against Davey Grant, mixing in a few takedowns, I think that's where he can take control of the fight.
Yeah, and you don't want to be in a hole against Rob Font, right? You don't want to be like down 2 rounds and be thinking to yourself like, "Hey, we need the next 3 rounds," because that's going to be tough. Because Rob's durable. He can wrestle. He's got good cardio. So if you come out and you're slow against him and you get down on the scorecards, it's going to be tough to come back.
And that's the thing. Chito is a very slow starter, so he needs to come out fast.
Yeah.
And so, who are you going to pick for that fight?
I guess I'll pick Rob, but that's like not a confident pick at all. I think like I'm really excited for that fight. You know, I get most excited about the fights. I have no idea who's going to win, and that kind of applies to this one. Like I gotta lean Rob just because of like what he's done, but like I said, Chito scares me right now.
Yeah, I'm leaning Chito just because I think he can wear down Rob Font if he makes it his. If Chito can make it his fight, he will wear down Rob Font, and I think he can catch him in the later rounds when they're both kind of tired.
Yeah.
And for the winner and loser, obviously, in my eyes, I think Corey Sandhagen could be a fight for the winner, you know, on a 2-fight loss streak to Petr Yan and TJ Dillashaw. And I think for the loser could be Dominic Cruz. You know, he's sitting there. I think he's number 7, number 8. So do you think those matchups make sense, or who do you think they should fight?
Yeah, no, I mean that Bantamweight is got good matchups right now. I think we got to kind of see what happens. You know, if Henry's coming back, and Henry is coming back, and if he wants to chase a fight against Aljamain, I mean, we just kind of have to see. I thought it was pretty much a shoo-in that TJ and Aljamain would be the next title fight. I'm not positive on that now. You know, with Henry coming back, I could see a world in which Aljamain fights Henry. So then what happens? You know, TJ's not going to be happy. Is he going to take another fight, or is he going to sit out? And then, you know, you could do a lot of different things, but the ones that you mentioned, if everything kind of falls into place like we thought it would, those fights make sense.
Do you think even because TJ won't want to give up his title shot, they'll book TJ versus Cejudo too? Obviously, the first fight, Cejudo won in 40 seconds, but there were weird circumstances around it with the weight cut and everything. Do you think they could do that for a number 1 contender fight?
I think if TJ doesn't get the title fight, then it'll be Henry versus Aljamain. And I think the UFC will try to make TJ Aldo. And then it's just a matter of, will TJ
TJ Aldo is a dream matchup for many fans. So
that'd be great. But I think TJ wants that fight when he's a champion. He doesn't want it now. So we'd have to see what happens.
And what do we do with Aldo now? You know, he even said he wants a piece of the champion. So now we have maybe 3 guys who are sitting there waiting for title shot. Even Petr Yan wants a rematch. A trilogy fight. So, do you think Aldo should fight Petr Yan again? You know, obviously their first fight.
Well, that's why if you're the
Aldo?
UFC, you'd love to put together TJ and Aldo because that's a great
Yeah.
fight and
Yeah,
it makes a
exactly.
lot of sense. But I can understand if you're TJ not wanting that fight,
Yeah.
that you were like, I was a champion. I lost the belt because of a suspension, which I paid for. And then I beat Corey Sandhagen. So I won a title fight.
Yeah.
So if he's hesitant to fight Aldo, I understand that. So that's what we're just going to have to see, man. Again, this only happens if Henry gets the next title fight, but he could.
Yeah.
So kind of just have to see how the dominoes fall in that weight class.
And you think with Henry, he was also calling out Alexander Volkanovski. So do you think maybe he pushes for the Volkanovski fight instead of the Aljamain fight, or do you think he's dead set on 135?
I think if he goes to 145, they're gonna make him win a fight before
Yeah.
he gets Volkanovski. So I could see them trying to put him together with a highly ranked 45er. But
Like Ortega or Yair?
yeah, any one of those guys, man. I mean, the 45 is a sick division as well, I mean, Cejudo has called out Max Holloway before too. I don't know I don't think Max Holloway would have much interest in that fight, but yeah, there's definitely options for Henry. I think he's going to end up back in 135. And if it were me, I would just do Aljamain, TJ, and then I would have Henry fight the winner of that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of options there.
Do you think Henry can beat Aljamain Sterling? We haven't seen him in 2 years since the Cruz fight. Do you think he wins that fight?
I mean, we just have to see. Like he's been out of shape, which why wouldn't he be? He was living a civilian life, so he'd have to slim down a little bit. And but yeah, I mean, of course, like Henry beat Demetrius Johnson as a flyweight champion, and that was hard for him to make that weight. His most ideal weight class is probably 135. So if you're talking about him in his ideal weight class, like he's a stud, man. So yeah, he absolutely can beat Aljamain Sterling. I think Sterling would have a shot at him, but yeah, stylistically, just with the wrestling advantage of Henry, the fact that Henry's has shown that he's got real fast hands, he's got power. I think that'd be a tough fight for Aljamain Sterling. Yeah.
Do you think size would come in being a factor, because Aljamain Sterling, he is quite a tall person, and Cejudo is, I think, 5'4", so it would be a tough height disadvantage. But do you think Henry's used to fighting guys who are much taller than him?
Yeah, Henry's pretty used to that. I would say more would be like just the length, the volume. Again, Cejudo being off for a while, if that was his first fight back, Aljo comes with a lot of pace. Yeah. And just the fact that Aljo, I mean, just because Henry is a all-world wrestler, Aljamain is so good at taking people's backs, and so I wouldn't say that that's all that likely, but it's certainly possible. I mean, that's kind of Aljamain's knockout punch, is his back taking and his ability to get on your back and choke you out. So Aljamain would have paths to victory for that fight, but I would kind of put Henry as a favorite.
And I just want to ask you one more thing, and then you can leave. I know you only have a short period of time, but the UFC Singapore in June, we've just had Robert Whittaker pull out, and Marvin Vettori is asking for a different fight. Do you think they'll book that, or do you think they're just going to push it later on?
That one I haven't given a whole lot of thought to yet. I would guess at this moment that they'll push it back. But I don't know about that one. I haven't really asked around about that one yet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Marvin fighting again. Marvin looked good in his last fight, and that was a fun one against Paulo Costa. That whole week was funny, and it was a good fight. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Marvin fight again.
Now I'm gonna ask you, you don't have to answer this, but are there any fights that you're hearing rumors of that you could announce maybe on this show? Any sneaky ones?
Nothing that I can announce on the show. I mean, I think nothing that I can announce that's officially done. The fights that I'm expecting and that I believe that the UFC are working on are the ones that you kind of know about. Leon and Kamaru. As soon as Kamaru's hand is cleared, I think you'll see that fight made. You'll see Izzy and Jared Cannonier made. I do think you will see Stipe and John Jones made in the second half of the year. Featherweight's a weird one. I mean, to me, Holloway versus Alex seems pretty obvious, but I think Alex wants something that he gets really excited about, which he's earned that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's looked very, very good, but I just don't really see what option there is for him besides Holloway. So I still, just personal opinion, feel like that's probably the fight you'll see.
Mhm.
But I don't know what's going to happen at featherweight. That would be my guess, but I don't know.